a statement of the special education and related services and supplementary aids and services based on peer-reviewed research to the extent practicable to be provided to the child or on behalf of the child, and a statement of the program modifications or supports for school personnel that will be provided for the child to advance appropriately towards attaining annual goals, to be involved in and make progress in the general education curriculum, and to participate in extracurricular and other non-academic activities, and to be educated and participate with other children with disabilities and non-disabled children in the activities described in this subparagraph.
That's an awful lot to understand. There's a lot involved in that statement. But really, when you break it down, it's a delineation of the special education services, the related services, the supplementary aids, the program modifications, and the supports for school personnel. So let's try to break that down and make that understandable for everyone.
It's not so easy to break it all down, and each of these things has its own definition in many different parts of the law. Here's what I think about it. This might be the most important part of your child's IEP, because this is where the IEP has to tell you what your child's services are going to be, how they're going to be delivered, and what supports have to be in place in order for your child to participate in the curriculum, the general education curriculum, non-academic activities, extracurricular activities, and to participate in their interaction with other kids, as well as to make progress towards their annual goals. So all of these things are fairly complicated, but it's very important because this is where you're going to be really learning about what your child's program looks like. Because after all of the conversation at that annual review or at that IEP team meeting about what you should and shouldn't be giving the child, now we've made a decision. Now the IEP is going to say what those services are. It's going to include things like if your child requires a one-to-one paraprofessional support in the environment. It's going to include things like how many hours of speech and language or occupational therapy your child might be getting. It's going to include
who's delivering those
services, not by name, but by discipline.
Right.
And so this is really important information. This is really where the services are outlined and the modifications are outlined and the supports are outlined. So it's important stuff.
And it's the specificity
Yes.
of how everything breaks down and gets delivered and who's accountable and all of those good things. And it is so often overlooked because often the IEP document in your state, in many states, is very long, complicated, and in some states it's not. But when it's on the document, it can get a little difficult to decipher all of this.
Well, and what many parents that I work with will say is they don't even know which page to look to. They're not sure on what page it tells them what their child is getting. And so, this is part of why we keep talking about what the contents have to have, because if you talk to a parent of a 16 or 17-year-old who's been receiving special education for many, many years, they pretty much know which page to look at by then. They say, oh yeah, I've been doing this long enough that I can tell you it's the page 4 or it's the page 9 or whatever it is in your particular district or state. But if it's your first or second IEP meeting, you may have no idea. And so it's not a bad idea to ask the team, on what page will I find where the special education and related services are located? Because it's so important. That's where it tells you what your child's getting in school.
Yeah, really good point.